What's the best example of, it takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it, that you know of? American Ninja Warrior winner Drew Drexel. After years of training, competing, and coming up short, he finally won in Season 11 and became just the third person to ever achieve total victory and win the $1 million prize. Months later, he was charged with child sex crimes. The court case is still ongoing, and he could face years in prison and massive fines. And to state the obvious, he will likely never compete again. Truly, not molesting children was the ultimate obstacle. It's always the really easy things that get you. Prince Andrew did a good job of keeping a relatively low public profile for years after his divorce. The work he was assigned to didn't require much TV work. Then, after the Epstein accusations, that interview must have been the most excruciating thing I have ever watched. I imagine he walked away thinking he had done a good job, and yet for everyone that watched it, it was the nail in his coffin. His PR advisor told him not to go on and then quit before it. Andrew's an idiot and thought he'd get carried through by his title. Me. I worked at the same company for 10 years and had an excellent reputation. Some wild stuff went down and all the managers except for me had to be replaced. My reputation was fine at that point. Then we hired this crazy guy who was lying and saying strange things a lot, then he was sexually inappropriate with a customer. I reported all of this to my boss. This crazy guy made up even bigger and more compelling lies about me. They believed him. I didn't do anything fireable, but they transferred me to a different location. I was told that I needed to shape up to save my job despite 10 years of maximum raises and promotions and glowing feedback. 2 days later, the guy was fired by HR because a customer reported him for sexual harassment. Nobody said a word to me, no apology, nothing. I quit in January. Fuck Office Depot. That's the last straw. I'm going to continue my apparently many year in progress boycott of Office Depot. What's something that happened to you that sounds made up but isn't? I went blind in one of my eyes overnight my senior year in high school. My parents thought I was joking when I told them. Spent majority of that year at the Wilmer Eye Institute. I had a 1 in 1 billion eye disease. The rare eye disease was AMPE. Thank you for all the kind words and laughs. No, my eyesight never returned laughable. My right eye, they tell me, is 22,200 so I can see out of it, but everything just looks like shadows, outlines. Can I say, you didn't see it coming? You could say that, LOL. Eye doctors don't know what causes it, and it's incurable to this day. Before I went to Wilmer's, eye doctors were mystified and I was basically like a lab rat for them as they had no explanation what was happening to me. My high school basically just graduated me cause they felt sorry for me. I miss my soccer season and any chance to play in college. Not cool. London, Brixton Market bombing, spring 1999. Walked straight past the bomb, went into Iceland supermarket, went right to the back as I knew what I was looking for. Bomb exploded just as I reached for the fridge door, nail bomb, 44 people injured, it was chaos. My wife experienced this at the Boston Marathon bombing in 2013. Not nearly as close, but she was about a block or two away when the bomb went all. She just remembers a lot of screaming and a cop yelling at her for not trying to get away. She had no idea what was happening until he asked if she wanted to get blown up. I was working and spent several hours frantically trying to reach her. It was honestly the most terrifying experience of my life and I was safely 100 miles away. As teenagers, Buddy and I were out in his car, at night, stopped at a red light. Light turns green, and normally he would take off. He didn't, so I looked over at him. He looked hypnotized. A second later, another car blew through the light. If we had gone as normal, we would have been killed. My dad did that the other day, and a semi-truck ran the light. I thought about telling him the light was green, but I didn't want to annoy him. It was a good decision. My dad has always had the best luck. Will a family doctor be able to see whether I've had sex? Hi. I'm panicking a little right now because I have a family doctor appointment tomorrow. Me and my parents are getting an annual checkup. In the past, the doctor would just ask about sexual activity, I would say no, and that's it. But my sister said that I'm 18 now, so they might do some brief physical examinations of like private areas. I don't know what that entails, and I didn't want to inquire too much because it would look suspicious. I'm an 18-year-old female from Ontario, Canada. Me and my boyfriend have been having safe and consensual sex for a few months now. If I was getting an annual checkup alone, I'd be fine with telling that to my doctor, but my parents are really overprotective and I would get in a ton of trouble if they found out. They'll be in the same room during my checkup, so I'm hoping that I can get away with telling my doctor that I've never done anything sexual. I know I shouldn't lie during an annual checkup, but I really don't know what to do. Will the doctor be able to find out? Any advice would be appreciated. Edit, I would be examined behind a curtain, so my parents won't be able to see me, but they'll be able to hear talking. I could request for them to be kicked out of the room entirely, but I don't want my parents to suspect anything. There is no way your parents will be in same room as you while the doctor performs exam of your genital area. Absolutely no way, unless it's some really weird clinic somewhere in a religious commune. So either they won't exam it, or they will exam it in private, and you will have chance to tell doctor not to reveal the info to your family, which they will usually honor. I think usually they're in the same room, but I'll be behind a curtain so they can't see. They'll still be able to hear the talking. To clarify, you are 18. Anything you ask to stay confidential will stay confidential. It's illegal for us to tell your parents anything you don't allow because you're a child. Also, no. We don't check your hymen or check for virginity. If it's safer to lie and say no, we'll believe you. We're not going to try to prove you wrong.